County Board of Commissioners of March 5th to order. Roll call, please.
Fretham.
Here.
McGuire.
Here.
Moran.
Where's that going?
Sorry. Ortega.
Aye.
Reinhardt.
Here.
Jean.
Here.
And Martinson.
Here. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm going to turn to Commissioner Zhang for our land acknowledgement this morning.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Every community owes its existence and vitality to generations from around the world who contributed their hopes, dreams, and energy to making the history that led to this moment. Some were brought here against their will, some were drawn to leave their distant homes in hope of a better life, and some have lived on this land since time immemorial. Truth and acknowledgement are critical to building mutual respect and connection across all barriers of heritage and difference. We are standing on the ancestral lands of the Dakota people. We want to acknowledge the Ojibwe, the Ho-Chunk, and the other nations of people who also call this place home. We pay respects to their elders, past and present. Please take a moment to consider the treaties made by the tribal nations that entitle non-Native people to live and work on traditional Native lands. Consider the many legacies of violence, displacement, migration, and settlement that brings us together here today. And please join us in uncovering such truths at any and all public events. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Zhang. I have the agenda of March 5th presented for approval. Is there a motion?
So moved.
The second.
Motion and a second. Any discussions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Jean.
Aye.
Fretham.
Aye.
McGuire.
Aye.
Moran.
Aye.
Ortega.
Aye.
Reinhardt.
Aye.
And Martinson.
Aye. We have the minutes from February 27th presented for approval. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and second. Any discussions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Jean.
Aye.
Fretham.
Aye.
McGuire.
Aye.
Moran.
Aye.
Ortega.
Aye.
Reinhardt.
Aye.
And Martinson.
Aye. I'll turn to Commissioner Zhang for our admin items.
I will move administrative item number 3, the Public Works Construction Quarterly Report for October 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2023. And item number 4, Mary Ann Tucker, parent of DT v. Dwight Fonte Smith in Ramsey County.
Second. Thank you. There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Jean.
Aye.
Fretham.
Aye.
McGuire.
Aye.
Moran.
Aye.
Ortega.
Aye.
Reinhardt.
Aye.
And Martinson.
Aye. I'm going to turn to Commissioner Moran for our legislative update.
All right, well, give me 1 second here. Okay, good morning and happy History Month. As many of you know, last Thursday morning, Minnesota Management and Budget released their February economic forecast, which projects the state would end the current biennium with a $3.75 billion surplus. This is an increase of $1.3 billion from the November forecast. I would also like to point out that there's a structural imbalance that they stated is still forecast for the next biennium, with spending predicted to exceed revenue through 2027. MMB suggested the surplus from this session would offset the imbalance in the next biennium. So we don't expect the news to change much about how the legislature is approaching this session. We continue to hear lawmakers will focus on binding and policy bills, which it is a policy year, and that there's little appetite for ongoing spending bills. This could mean there is a little more money for some one-time spending, which will work for our unsheltered funding heading home Ramsey priorities, or a slightly bigger bonding bill. On the federal front, I wanted to share an update from Congresswoman McCullen's office, We just got yesterday afternoon on Ramsey County's community project funding requests for fiscal year 2024. So text of the first round of 6 funding bills, or what we're calling the minibus, was released over the weekend. The minibus includes the 2 Ramsey County requests. The first one was Ramsey County Rice Street reconstruction for $1 million out of the Department of Transportation Highway Infrastructure Projects. And the second request from Ramsey County was the Ramsey County Emergency and Public Safety Community Network replacement for $2,965,000 out of the Department of Justice COPS grants. So the House intends to bring up the minibus for a vote this week in Congress, and the Congresswoman is confident that the minibus can pass the House. Then the minibus would then need to be passed on to the Senate before being signed into law by President Biden. I just want to give a little quick shout out to Congresswoman Betty McCullen, who has really been a champion for us back here home, who continues to bring our initiatives, our acts to Congress, and and we get good results from her. So just want to say thank you, Congresswoman Betty McCullen, who I saw just this weekend in Target.
I love it.
Okay, that's it.
Okay, thanks. Did anyone want to add anything that they've been working on legislative-wise? All right, I know everyone's been moving in lots of directions, a lot going on. Thank you, Commissioner Moran. Next, we're going to do County Connections. County Manager Berg. That's fun to say.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's fun to hear. Let me start with just a sincere thank you to each member of the board and to all county staff for their messages and actions of support as I take on this role. I've been very appreciative. Our work is done by teams, and this has just underscored for me that ours is the best, and so many thanks. Last Thursday evening, Workforce Solutions Director Ling Becker was a panelist for the St. Paul Area Chamber's 156th annual meeting. She served on a panel alongside former Senator Norm Coleman and Tanya Allen, president of the McKnight Foundation, on the theme of building a new table, making room for new ideas, voices, and perspectives. The event was attended by 700 plus community members, businesses, elected officials, and residents across the metro region. Director Becker shared her personal story of being an immigrant and how tables have been set for her, and in paying it forward, how we must set the table for others, including our young people. B. Kyle, the Chamber President, shared that Ling brought, and I quote, a powerful voice, perspective, and power to the conversation around visioning, systems change, and how theory to action connects to the ground. The event was also attended by Commissioner Moran, by Commissioner Ortega, other county leaders, WIB members, and youth team reps from across the county. So congratulations there. As referenced, today is the presidential primary. Happy Super Tuesday to everyone. Underscore the polls are open now and will be open until 8 o'clock. Encourage everybody to get out and vote. Want to highlight here the work of Deputy County Manager Karen Francois, Tracy West, Dave Triplett, Christina Tvetten, and our entire elections team for all of their hard work. It's going to be a busy year, and this is one more milestone within that. Finally, I'd like to share a message that the county manager and the board chair received from Mayor Elizabeth Kautz from Burnsville. Thank you for your support and generosity in helping us out during this tragic time of grief in Burnsville with the loss of our 2 officers and the 1 firefighter paramedic as they responded to a domestic call. Words fail to express my sincere and deep appreciation for helping us out with staff support. Your kindness and care is deeply appreciated. I am humbled and am truly grateful. So, wanted to make sure I shared that with the full board. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, County Manager Burke. I'm going to go to our outside board and committee reports, and I'll start with Commissioner McGuire.
Oh, wow, great. Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a few shout outs to my community for all their work. The Roseville Business Council met, and Roseville Mayor Dan Rowe presented the results of the recent Envision Roseville Business Survey, and he shared how the input was used by the city. So that was great community work being done there. For the Association of Minnesota County, we had our Big 4 meeting. That's where the counties, cities, school boards, and townships leaders meet and talk about how we can move forward with our mutual agendas. So that's exciting. Tonight, the Rice Larpenteur Alliance Annual Community Gathering will be held, and I just thank, Kim O'Brien and all the board for all their work on the Rice and Larpenteur Alliance. So that will be a great community meeting. They're going to give out a community champion award, silent auction, table talks. So a great event there. Association of Minnesota Counties is having their Futures Task Force Thursday and Friday. Friday, Ramsey County League of Local Governments is going to have their monthly meeting about our role around cannabis. So it should be a really interesting meeting, and that is on Friday morning. And so just thank everyone for all their work, all the communities for all their great work these days. So thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Ortega.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Last Thursday, we had the Riverview Policy Advisory Committee. Well attended. The Policy Committee includes folks from the Mayor of Bloomington to Hennepin County Commissioners, Met Council members, and of course, community members from St. Paul and St. Paul City officials. We had a very good discussion. We went over our allotted time. But the committee voted unanimously to move forward to community engagement, the two rail alternatives and the bus alternative for community input. And so we'll be doing that throughout the summer, having some very robust community engagement for about the next more than that, 6 months. And then we'll meet again in the fall to discuss the results and the input given by the community. On another note, I was really, I want to emphasize Lynn's performance at the Chamber of Commerce dinner. She was seriously, I don't go around giving kudos every week, but she did a she by far was the star of the show. Excellent. I mean, she came across.
Nailed it.
So I just she nailed it. That's it, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Ortega. Commissioner Feather.
In the last week, we've had the Recycling and Energy Board meeting, as well as the Metro Mosquito Control Commission meeting, where we got to learn more about the drone program, which was very interesting, and actually see one of the drones. And then I just want to boost tonight. We have a 6 p.m. community engagement session regarding Sucker Lake Channel, which is in Venice Heights, and we have been experiencing for the last several years a high number of swan deaths along this channel, and it's primarily because fishing in the channel using lead sinkers and bait results in the swans being poisoned just because of the structure there. We have been working for the past few years on education and trying to help people access resources to get non-lead tackle, but it has not reduced the number of swans that we are seeing dying. We want to engage with community to come up with solutions. One option on the table is prohibiting fishing in that spot, but we know that that is a good spot to fish, and also that there are a lot of costs with that prohibition in terms of enforcement. So as many folks as we can get out there so we can come up with a solution together that's workable and actually going to reduce the number of swan deaths would be great. That is a virtual meeting at 6 p.m. And yes, please spread the word.
Excellent. Thank you, Commissioner Fedham. Commissioner Reinhardt.
Thank you. Really glad that they're trying to do something more with that. There are other options besides lead sinkers, and it's been an issue for a lot of years as far as trying to get the lead out.
Yeah. And that is tomorrow night, in case I said tonight. Tomorrow night, Wednesday night, the 6th.
Okay. Yes, the Recycling and Energy Board met, and we've been talking a lot about what's happening up at the legislature, obviously. And I have testified a couple of times again, and also had interest from Senator Tina Smith's office about the anaerobic digestion digester project that we're working on. And so we're trying to turn over every stone, every possibility as far as funding, because the federal funding that is available to the tune of about $30 million must be done this year.
Yeah.
And so it puts a little more oomph behind what we're trying to do, because it's something that is going to be incredibly important, obviously, as far as climate change. And I know our next session is on climate change. It's something that we just need to do. It's the next generation, and if we're really serious, and everyone is serious about trying to do something different as far as waste and recycling and toxicity reduction, then this is something that we need to move forward with. So pulling out all the stops that we possibly can to try to make that happen with the public-private partnership. I also attended there's the City Climate Smart Municipalities, which is the partnership basically through the University of Minnesota and Germany and the communities there, and really talking about what we need to do as far as equitable climate resilience and some of the things that we have been doing at the legislature. They were very interested in that, and so we're trying to get information to them on that. And then also the Neighborhood Concerned Citizen Group, which is what used to be Water Gremlin, has now been sold, and really looking at what are the next steps to make sure that everything is in alignment as far as what they're supposed to be doing. So far, it seems fairly good, and just really looking forward to seeing that really not only just at that location, but what they did was really statewide and even nationally known as far as trying to say, let's just be smarter about the way we do things. So, and the new company seems to be really engaged in that. And I think that's about it.
Awesome. That's a lot.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you, Commissioner Reinhardt. Commissioner Moran.
I'm going to open up with the meeting that we had with Ecolab and Catholic Charity under the Unsheltered Summit, as was called. And I want to open up with that because, as we know, homelessness in St. Paul is, it's only expanding, right? It's growing. It is filling out and rolling out into the city. Businesses are very concerned about the vitality of our downtown area. And so it was really great to see Ecolab and others from the private sector come out and really, in my mind, say, how can we be helpful? Because it's going to take all of us to do this. The philanthropic counties, the state, and the private sector to come together and to get a handle on how we can house the unsheltered, how we can get support services, whether it's mental, substance use disorder, be aware that there are children and families who are homeless. We need to stabilize them because it impacts their education outcomes in life. And so there's a lot to do, and we all need to be all in on that. And we need to know that with Ramsey County and St. Paul being one of the second biggest cities here in this state, the vitality of our city matters. And so we really have to get a handle on this homeless issue and do some really good collective investment. But kudos to Ecolab for, and there's a few other private sector partners that was at the table for coming out and seeing and trying to work on a bigger vision and who's responsible for this work. And it's all of us. I did a visit to Penumbra Theater over in my district, which is part of the Martin Luther King Center, who are looking to do some renovations within that location around healing. If we don't know much, we do know that these last 4 years at the COVID, and the impact of COVID, we can look at with the George Floyd and the riot, we can look at the isolations, and we hear this over and over again about people well-being and mental health. And we really get to hear that is a big issue, and now get in front of it and do some really good investments around people's well-being and their mental health. And so, I look forward to the continued work that we could and should do here at Ramsey County to be a part of that solution and really get a hold of how we can create more programs and services in this area. Again, which also go back to the whole homeless populations too, and that need to focus in that area. I participated in ADA Earn and Learn Lunch for Small Business Training, which is Asian Economic Development Association. They are participating in our Workforce Development Earn and Learn. It was just really awesome to see so many young people who have a vision and dreams of being an entrepreneur, wanting to start their own business, and working with our local businesses to create those opportunities and possibilities. And they had a beautiful Asian singer, who just through her singing, I think she was really just talking about herself and being accepted and taking fully control of who we are and who she is, right? Which is to resonate with all, because we can be such a judgmental society in so many different ways. But it was a beautiful moment, beautiful relationship. And it was also in my district. I want to thank Commissioner Zong, who is always strong and showing up and participating, coming up and allowing folks to see her as the first Hmong commissioner. And, it's important because it helps people to dream about the possibilities. So it was and good food. The pad thai was really good. I also attended a part of the mosquito control commission, and it was really, really awesome to piggyback on Commissioner Feather's conversation about seeing a real-life drone right there in the room, right? That was really, really awesome to see that. And I was able to go back to Open City Board meeting and just have an opportunity to share what Ramsey County is doing to support open cities, where we have a lot of community-based health clinics, federal qualified health centers who are struggling right now, but Ramsey County is playing a role to help support, that reimbursement rates for the uninsured. So it was also good to meet the county board members. Let's see here. And I want to end with my visit to the a small but mighty recovery. They call themselves a recovery cafe. They're located at 499 Charles Avenue in St. Paul, right in the Frogtown area, who are do community support for those who are on the path of recovery. Whether you're dealing with mental health, drug addiction, isolation, they're there to feed them, to be in community with them, and give them a sense of belonging and support. It was really good to attend that, so I want to say thank you to the Recovery Cafe for inviting me out, because there's so much going on in local communities that we do not know about. And I have to say, I did not know that Lutheran, I think it was a Lutheran church, that is housing this Recovery Cafe. And I better, without ado, I got a email from Abu Nazeem, Nayeem, who, after that meeting, emailed me and wanted to thank me for sitting down with the Recovery Cafe in Frogtown to talk about his involvement in the last 2 years around housing support. He is a housing entrepreneur. He also sits on the Suburban Ramsey County Housing Collaborative, which hosts weekly navigator meetings where they update on current housing resources, funding, and offer navigators to share any caseload and to have that support and to assist others. Mary Sue Hansen is the executive director, and she describes the meeting as a buddy system. And I think we all need a buddy sometime to get through. I need a buddy right now to get through being a commissioner. So I'm so glad I have so many different buddies, right, that can help me navigate what this thing is called a Ramsey County Commissioner. But so, no, really, it's good to have good buddies who can, walk you through some things and that you can talk to. So I just want to say thank you to some of my other friends that I saw there and had some really good conversations with. And Abu, when you get back in town from New York City, let's connect.
Awesome.
That's it for me.
Thank you. Commissioner Sean.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I had a meeting along with folks from the City of St. Paul, City of Minneapolis, and Hennepin County. We met with the Deed Commissioner, Matt Borellick, and Commissioner Anderson from Hennepin County was able to join us too, and we were both able to just share our concerns about a lot of the concerns about more so about the programs that they are having, and concerned that some of those funds won't trickle into the metro area. And these are large amounts of federal funds that are coming. Although Deed is set to receive approximately $675 million in broadband and digital equity funding from the federal government over the next 2 years as part of the IIJA infrastructure law. The funds will be administered by Deed's Office of Broadband Development. But currently, as how the program is developed, almost all of these dollars will just fund an expensive initiative that focuses on installing fiber optic broadband, known as the border-to-border program. And based off on our digital connectivity plan, we also know that the urban area is also going to be very impacted and also one of the most disconnected from having internet, because alone, just in Hennepin and Ramsey County, we're home to as many as 25% of the Minnesotans who do not have broadband connection. And so the digital divide will continue to perpetuate just the historical racial inequities about who has access to employment, education, and healthcare resources. So we'll continue to be working with partners in the community to advocate for this ongoing need and to bring attention to that. And also another damper to digital connectivity or internet is also that the federal government ceased the funding to the Affordable Connectivity Program that already impacts almost 35,000 low-income households in Ramsey County. So that is a huge hit. And I know that NACO and lots of leaders also Commissioner Chair Clark from Stearns County was also one of the lead and speakers in trying to make sure that that program didn't end. So more to come on that. We'll just continue in working with them, and then also making sure that we pull in our state legislators too and connect with them about that impact to the metro here. The next, last night, I was on a panel with the Head Start Policy Council and some of the staff from the Community Action Partnership. And one of the participants asked a really great question because this panel is focused about advocacy and about how parents can continue to advocate for them, for their families and for their kids. And at the end of it, someone was like, how do you maintain hope, in advocacy, And I thought about this, and, I shared that, I'm very fortunate to, serve on a board that has a wealth of experience. And I actually gave the example that Commissioner Reinhardt recently gave us at Recycling and Energy. Because I gave the example of when I first heard about the Packaging Waste and Cost Reduction Act that would be passed on to the producers. I immediately thought that it was too far, that we won't be able to get it, right? But Commissioner Reinhardt shared about how in clothing, mercury used to be in clothing in our fabric.
Right.
And that was not too long ago, in the whole big scheme of things. So I shared that with them, and I think it really resonated with them, about like where we have been. It's important to look back at where we have been and the progress we have made to celebrate that so that we can keep moving on. So I just wanted to share that with the public about keeping up the hope.
That's right, yeah.
And then I also attended my first Metro Conservation District meeting last week. I am now the secretary. Stepped up to be secretary, and we passed an agreement for the state fair at the state fairgrounds. And I'm sure this is something that many of you know, but this is about the water festival that all fourth graders and their teachers are invited to learn about water conservation and about how water recycles itself. And that's at the state fairgrounds on September 25th, 2024. Yeah, so it's a ways ahead, but we took action to sign the agreement.
Excellent.
Yeah. And then finally, I also got an update for my district. So, it's right next to my district. It's actually in Commissioner Reinhardt's district, but at the Battle Creek Park. The Prairie Restoration Project will begin very soon here, if not already, March 2024. And that's the strip that's right along McKnight Road, all the way down to Upper Afton. And the project goals are to remove the spruce, amber, and maple, and the turf to create prairie for key pollinator species, such as the monarch butterfly, and also the endangered rusty patch bumblebee. And it'll also create the green corridor connecting animals to their natural habitat and provide nature for the public with the native landscape. So that will start this year and go all the way through July 2027. So there will be some activity, and it will just be changing. But for sure this year, what's happening is that the spring herbicide treatments and the mowing and removal of the woody invasives detrimental to the native plants are being removed, and then they'll do the fall seeding. So expect some of that change. It won't be the entire Battle Creek Park, but it's really that sliver that's right along McKnight there. And then my final one is I attended the Eastside Real Estate Strategy with the Eastside Funders Group and also several of the nonprofits on the East Side, where NAO Partners did a really good analysis of the investments of both the private and public investments that had gone on the East Side's commercial corridors, really focusing on Arcade, East 7th Street, and Payne Avenue corridors. And they did a comparison of the corridors west of 35E. And, of course, they just shared what many of us in the community knows and feels. It's just that, the investment that the East Side has seen is not comparable to the rest of the city, as well as the property values, where our property values are much lower for the commercial values. And they had did some overlays of where the vacant buildings were, where the underutilized buildings were, and were able to identify several properties of key potential investments for the future. So this, there will be more to come, but I think that it just provides a very good path and a plan for community to come together and actually to also come ahead of future corridor investments, and how I see this connecting in with other projects, big projects, is that when we invest in our public infrastructure, the community can only benefit so much if there's community ownership. And so we are looking ahead about how we can do that together in community and make sure that future investments that community members who are there, as well as the nonprofits, that they all benefit from the investments.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, Commissioner Ryan.
Because I know you want, I
Yeah.
want you to end.
It's
and
okay.
Take us
Go
out.
ahead.
Because you opened the door and you mentioned mercury. And I just wanted to state that, mercury is still found in like anti-aging lotions and skin lightening products that is sold often in our Latino, Asian, African, and Middle Eastern communities as a product that is can be helpful, and it's poisoning. And so I just wanted to lift that up, that today that is still happening online. It has still been sold online. And so, communities just really, really need to be really careful about the products that they are purchasing online. If you see anything with like mercurous chloride or calomel or mercury, those are all mercury, which is hazardous and dangerous. And long-term use, probably some short-term use, it says to just stop using it immediately if you see any of those labels. And if there's no labels on something you purchase, don't assume that it's good, because we in the United States of America required products to be labeled with the ingredients. So let's just be careful.
Awesome. Yeah, go ahead, Commissioner Reinhardt.
Okay, I'm just going to tell you a fun fact.
Okay.
Because people, you think about lead, you think about mercury, you think about all these things, and it's like, okay, well, yeah, it's out there, but you're not really paying a lot of attention. When it comes to mercury especially, because we've all probably heard the Mad as a Hatter. It's because the hats were finished with mercury, and they literally poisoned the people that were making them. And so it's a fun fact. I can see Joanna is like, well, I didn't know that. But it just shows that we really do have to pay attention to it, and especially, and there's so many different things out there, I get that. But mercury is something that can be avoided.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good public health notice on Super Tuesday. Appreciate that. I have just a couple of quick things. I also want to say a shout out to our election team and volunteers, poll workers. I was at my site early this morning, and with friendly faces, the sun is shining and there are people coming in. It's really quick. There's only one thing on the ballot, so I encourage people to get out and vote. And thanks to our team that just do these things so seamlessly. So thank you for that. I also want to remind folks that we have several openings on our community board and commissions, and folks can go online to our boards and commission portal to sign up, but we have openings at the Community Health Services, Parks and Rec, our Personnel Review Board, and our Library Advisory Board. So, we do this work best with community and with that input, so encourage people to apply to be one of those boards and commission members. And then last, I just wanted to give a quick update on the status of our county manager search. We have a great interim, and we appreciate you so much, Joanna Berg, for stepping into this role. But we have just closed the request for proposals for our executive search team. As you remember, we had went out to find a firm that would work for us to find an executive. So we've just closed that. We did receive a number of proposals. We'll be reviewing those in the next week or two and then select a firm. Once we get a firm in place, we'll come back with more updates. But at that time, when there's a firm, all commissioners will be involved. So everybody gets to be a part of the process, but we got to first get the firm. So I just wanted to share that so everybody knew where we are in the process moving ahead. Today, we have a workshop. We're finished a little early, so maybe we can start at 10 o'clock instead of 10:15. I see the team smiling in the back, maybe. We're going to head down to room 220. We have a workshop on our strategic priority, climate change and community resilience. We're going to see our climate action plan draft, so pretty excited. And Commissioner Ortega will be chairing that as well. And then, that's all we've got. I want to remind folks that next Tuesday we are doing photos, so we'll have a chat about our pictures next Tuesday as well, so everyone knows pictures next Tuesday. Yeah, okay. Yep, awesome, great. And with that, we are adjourned.